Hello and welcome to another episode of the DMG Tech Show. I am your host, Jonathan Parkinson, and in this episode, we're going to go ahead and talk about getting your Chromebook back. Now, what am I talking about when we're getting our Chromebook back? That is going to apply to all of those that have removed Chrome OS completely and installed Linux onto their computer. Now, in an earlier video, a few months ago, I went ahead and made that video, and I had a lot of success. A lot of people said thank you, and so thank you for watching that and giving me the okay that it worked for you. Now, what we're going to go ahead and talk about is johnlewis.ie. Now, John Lewis is I guess you'd call him a developer. He creates firmwares. As you can see in this top left-hand corner right there, it's firmwares and custom Chromebook firmware. So what you need to know about this is actually, I'll have a link for his website, or actually have a link directly where to look to get this kind of worked out. But what I wanted to talk about is, so I'm going to go to the facts, talking about when we're going through this process, that it's not as easy as just copying and pasting and kind of doing that. You need to kind of work with it a little bit. The reason I'm saying that is because you need to know where your directory is when you're storing some of these files and moving them around. He has made this. So when I go back down here a little bit, let me get to the page first before I talk about it more. Can I run Windows? I've bricked my Chromebook. No. Somewhere in here, somewhere. Oh, can I? Nope. Can I continue to use? No. All right, there you go. So it's going to be this one right here. Going back to the stock firmware, which is Chrome OS. So what I want to go ahead and talk about is the fact that, as you can see, this is going to be, the steps that you're going to need to do. I've gone through this my entire self, and I have successfully, re-brought back Chrome OS, and I'm actually using the Chromebook that I'm using right now. It's on my Acer C720. And so what I'm going to kind of go through here is kind of the steps of commands and what's going on, because this is kind of a little more Linux heavy. And I know a lot of people that were looking to jump the gun and remove Chrome OS and completely make it a Linux machine for gaming or whatever it was for. They did so without really knowing too much about Linux, or maybe not to the extent on where you're going to be kind of capable of coming back from where you are. So I just wanted to kind of give heads up on how to do that. So I'll go through just the steps really fast and tell you where kind of I ran into some issues and what I had to do to achieve those issues or solve them. The first one's going to be fine. Just go ahead and, you're just going to download the Linux script. If it doesn't work, you might need to install wget. So that'll be just sudo apt-get install wget. So just like you would install anything else with that sudo apt-get command, that wget is just another program that you might need to install. It should be already installed, but just in case in the future, you might not need to do that. So the next step is then we're going to make it executable. So you do that by using the chmod command. So you just go ahead and hit that. Now you need to make sure that you are in the correct directory wherever it's been downloaded, which it should just do it directly. Where you should just be able to hit that and it should work fine. You then need to run the script. When the script runs, it's going to be running. All this is going to be in the terminal. You're going to get a long list of what's going on, all the devices. I recommend just pressing enter right away when it asks you the name of your device. Just get the list of them all. It's going to take a few minutes to generate everything. And then when it's done generating every single Chromebook on the bottom, it's just going to ask you to punch in a number. For example, the Acer C720 Chromebook is 23. So anybody that just wants to skip that, you can go ahead and load it up, and they don't have to scroll up. It's number 23. Just make sure you find the exact model. There's only one for the C720, so that's fine. So once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and download the proper files. So what we're doing is we're downloading the firmware, the recovery firmware for our Chrome OS device. And so when we download it, we're going to need to make sure that we extract some files and put them where they need to be put in order for us to be able to restart our computer, and it'll boot up saying you need to reinstall Chrome OS, which we will be able to do by making a recovery USB storage unit, the way you would still make a USB recovery if you were just trying to restore your Chromebook in the first place. So we need to get back to that step where it's going to allow us to recover our Chrome OS. So what's going to happen here is, like I was saying, he's using Fedora. So anybody that's using Fedora, Ubuntu, or have that installed onto their Chromebook, this whole thing is going to work directly for that. So it's going to be a little easier for you. Most people are probably using an Ubuntu variant of it, though, so of Linux. So I don't think that's going to quite work. So what's going to be said right here is, that's what you're going to get, this little error down at the bottom, or you could get it. When you download your firmware, it's going to ask you to write it to a USB drive, and we're not going to want to do that. You can just press no, whatever you need to do, and we're just going to cancel that out. The reason is because we need a file within that file that we just downloaded. We don't need the whole thing right away. So that's what it's saying right here, that you're going to get an error. Yours might not say the exact same commands of yes, no, or C. So just go ahead and just however it says to press no, just press no. Now we're going to need to extract, like I was just saying, some of the temporary areas. So we need to remove the spaces. So you just go ahead and type that in. That's going to be the exact same as well. So what that's saying is you're going to remove something. And where we're doing it is in our temporary file in the temporary.crossrec/star.bin. So that's just pretty much any .bin file inside there. That's all that star is saying. So you don't have to specifically name an exact one. Note the name above, as you're going to need it in the commands. So now we're going to need to unzip everything. So what you need to know about this is when you're using this command, you need to make sure that you change the number 5 through probably Falco, and you need to change it to whatever your file name is. So if you want to go ahead, you can actually install Nautilus, which I'll have a command in the description below on how to install it if you don't know to. And what Nautilus is going to do, we'll be able to let you open up your directory in root. So you just need to, when you go ahead and get that installed, you open it up, it'll ask you for your password, to press enter, because you're going to be in there and you're going to be able to do some damage to your computer. So don't delete anything, because you're going to have full access to be able to do with whatever you want with your computer. So if you want to find out the exact name of your file, you can just navigate to temp. So you're going to need to get all the way to the very top directory inside of Nautilus, and then go from there. Go to the first folder, will be temp, then to temp.cross, and then you'll find your Chrome OS underscore whatever it is. And then just replace that underscore whatever it is right here with this command as well. Press enter. It says use the kparks, so we need to make sure we install that. In this command, it's going to say sudo yum install. Remember, if you are in Ubuntu, it's not going to be yum. It's going to be sudo apt-get install. So we'll have, you can just look at the apt-get in the command below in the description, where it's going to say sudo apt-get Nautilus. Instead, though, you're just going to do sudo apt-get install kpax Nautilus. So we need to make sure that's installed. What's the next thing that's going to install is going to be the mountable mapping. So we need to pretty much mount the file that we have. That way, when we mount it, we can get into it and kind of mess around with it. So this command is going to be similar to the same as well. If you run into errors, you might want to try to change out these little hashes. Sometimes when people write commands inside of a website, the hash does not line up to what the terminal wants, so you have to remove it and add your own. For some reason, just the code or the writing on a HTML, website or whatever it is, doesn't correspond from a copy and paste into the terminal. It just doesn't, it glitches for some reason. So you might need to make sure that, edit that out. So now we're going to go ahead and mount the partition. So that's what sudo mount. And what I found out here as well is it might not be named loop O0P3. What you'll need to do is, it should be P3, I believe. It's just this O could be a 2, a 7, a 6, whatever. It could be something else. So again, you want to open up something like Nautilus. Go ahead and head over to this dev-mapper area. So, navigate to it and see what it's called. And that way you can adjust this to what you need to adjust it to. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to create the directory. So that's all that's saying that right there is make this directory, shellball. Shellball is going to be found in your standard, directory. So if you click your username inside of a file browser, you'll see a shellball where it says documents and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it when it comes to this. As you see, I'm running out of time here. I only do so much recording, unfortunately. For the next thing, we're going to have to do this as well. And just like the dashes I said earlier, you might need to change those. Those happen to be a problem. And you just want to make sure that you have a understanding of where everything is located. That became the biggest problem. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this on in the next video. So we'll take this on to part 2.